Hello, Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon on YouTube. This video is for informational and educational purposes only. If you feel you need a therapist, please go to Google, type in therapy, your city, Psychology Today will pop up, click on that, and it will have all of the therapists in your area. Also, the views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other goddamn therapist for that matter. Thanks for playing. Bye-bye. There we go. Okay, I am in New Orleans. Yay! It's awesome. The place we were staying at, though, has no insulation whatsoever, so we could hear like people walking on the street, and it was like, are they in the house? What? Yeah, it was kind of interesting. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to seeing everybody today in New Orleans. This is going to be awesome. So I have a couple of questions that I wanted to make sure to answer. One of them was on when an abuser does a suicidal threat. So, and I've talked about this before. So what abusers will do is, if nothing else is working, okay, they'll whip out the suicidal threat. They'll be like, if you leave me, I will kill myself. If you leave me, I will harm myself. If you kill me. Now, this is usually not done by narcissists. Narcissists think they're all that in a bag of chips, and they're not going to harm themselves. They're not. They won't even make the suicide. It wouldn't even cross their mind that the world could go on without them. So, but what will happen is, with the witch and the queen borderlines, they will make the suicidal threat. And sometimes the quiet ones do too, but usually it's the witch and the queen because they're threatening, they're controlling, they're trying to manipulate and control. And also to harm, because that's a frightening thought for an empath, that somebody they love would harm themselves because you're going to leave. So what abusers will do is they'll whip out that suicidal threat. You know, if you don't do this, I'll do this, you know. So here's the deal, guys. You, listen to me now, believe me later. You are not responsible for what another person does. If this person chooses to harm themselves in an attempt to manipulate and control you, that is not your problem. Not your problem. So when somebody does that, what I suggest is you call the crisis team. You do. You know, if they're like, if you're leaving me, I'm going to kill myself, blah, 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 blah. Please don't do that. And I'm leaving. I'm hanging up now. Bye-bye. Click. Pick up the phone. Call. Pick up the phone. Nobody picks up the phone anymore. What am I saying? We don't even have phones that pick up anymore. You know, get on the phone and call 911 and have them do a welfare check. Or you call the crisis team and you say, hey, this person has told me that they are going to harm themselves. Here is their address. Here's where they can be found. And I can guarantee you they will do it a grand total of one time, because once somebody spends a night in county hospital, they don't want to pull that shit again, because county hospital is not pretty. That's where they send... Yeah, you don't want to stay the night in county hospital. Trust me on that one. So, yeah, you call the police or you call 911. Now, I have people go, oh, but, you know, then that means they're never going to tell me if they're going to harm themselves again. Well, then why are you still around them if they're threatening to kill themselves in order to keep you? Listen to me now, believe me later. Healthy relationships don't have that kind of bullshit. They don't. They don't have that kind of drama. They don't have that kind of, I'm going to kill myself if you leave. Bullshit. No fear, no obligation, and no guilt. Okay, listen to me now, believe me later. No fear, no obligation, and no guilt. There is no fog in a healthy relationship. So an unhealthy relationship, yeah, they will pull that kind of manipulation. If you do this, I'll do that. If you do this, I'll harm myself. If you do this, I'll kill myself. So you call 911 and you ask for a welfare check, or you call the crisis team. You know, every county has one, or every state has one, and you ask for a welfare check and you tell them what's happened. But you do not allow them to hold you hostage because they're playing the suicide card. So yeah, and disordered people do that all the time in order to manipulate and control. I don't know if I told you guys this, but when I was in college, I was in a sorority for a grand total of maybe 2 months, because then I went, y'all are fucked, and I got out. But I was in a sorority, and we were at some sort of sorority gathering, and my big sister had set me up with a friend of hers. Well, he was batshit crazy. And so, you know, we went to this dance, and he was like hanging out with other people and ignoring me. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm ready to go home because I have studying to do. Thanks for playing. So, you know, I started, you know, he got in the car and we started driving. Thank God I drove. And I dropped him off at the house. Well, while we're in the car at his house, he turns to me and he says that he's going to kill himself if I don't have sex with him. And thank God I had enough self-esteem at the time to, sit there and basically do a therapy session with him. It's like, that's interesting. So why would you kill yourself? You met me this first time, so why would you kill he thought for sure he was going to be able to manipulate me. And it's a learned behavior, guys. These abusers learn that they can push buttons and manipulate. And when he realized that it was, and he tried wearing me down. I was in the car with him for at least an hour, and I was terrified. I was, because I was like, what the fuck is this guy going to do? He's crazy, and he was drunk, which was like, oh, Jesus God. So, anyway, and so finally at the end I said, here's a great therapist. Her name's Ruth Hornaday. She's in Chico. She's awesome. Go see her. She's retired and probably dead by now, but, and so I, did all that, and he was really disappointed that his manipulation didn't work. But I held firm, thank God, because I was like, I'm not sleeping with a drunk, crazy person. Thanks for playing. So, but yeah, they do that. They use whatever card they think they can to get their way, which is selfish, self-centered, narcissistic, totally no empathy whatsoever. It's like, you don't say, I'm going to hurt myself if I don't get my way. That disordered people say that. So the second, ooh, hello refrigerator. The second that somebody, it's loud. The second that somebody pulls that, oh, that's interesting. I wonder why you're thinking that way. What's your self-esteem like? It's like you do that. And then you call 911 and you ask for a welfare check. You do not give in to suicidal threats, suicidal gestures. You don't. We don't negotiate with terrorists. That's because that's a way they're trying to instill terror. They are trying to instill terror. They're trying to make you fearful that it'll be your fault if they harm themselves. They are responsible for their own choices. If they choose to harm themselves, that's on them. Do not accept stuff that is not yours. So there is that. Okay, so let me get rid of that one. Mark is done. There we go. All right. Okay, here's another question. Could you speak about, after the abuse, how to talk about the person or answer questions about the person? I have children with him. They're ages 5 and 12. They still want to talk about life, general things, memories. I like to think of him as dead, or like the boss that fired me. I never want to see him again. I find it hard to keep him out of the conversation or his family. I am no contact with all of these people. I don't want to damage my relationship with my kids by not talking about their weekend with him or other things involving him. Okay, so that's hard, because it's like when we have children with one of these people, they're going to be a part of our lives, unfortunately, in some way, shape, or form for the rest of our lives. What you have to remember is that the kids are 50% them. So if you act like, fuck him, I don't want to see him, or her, I don't want to see her, I don't want to think about her, I don't want to, it's not the kids' faults, guys. It's not the kids' faults. They are 50% them. And in their little minds, they're going to be like, oh, gee, does mom like me? Or does dad like me? Because I'm part of him or her too. So you got to remember, kids are not stupid. They process all of this stuff consciously or subconsciously. So when you're dealing with an abusive ex and you've got kids with them, you got to remember, this person unfortunately is going to be a part of their lives until they turn 18, or until the kids finally just go, oh God, I want nothing to do with them. So what you're going to have to do is set your ego aside. Seriously, get your fucking ego out of the way and talk to the kids. Is it painful to talk about an ex? Yeah, it is, because you have your own set of memories. But you have to remember, these little ones are having to go back and forth, if you have 50-50, back and forth between the two houses, and that is going to be half of their lives. So yeah, ask what's going on, and if it bothers you afterwards, go journal. Journal it out and burn it. Journal it out and burn it. Get it out of your head, get it onto paper, burn it. But you're going to need to talk about your ex with your kids. Now, here's the other thing. You do not, listen to me now, believe me later, you do not want to bash your ex. You don't. And here's the reason why. Again, they are 50% them. So if you're bashing the ex, you're also bashing them. Stop it. Just stop it. Keep your stuff out of it. Again, ego needs to leave. So when you're having to talk, well, how was your weekend? What did you do? Tell me how things are going, blah, 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 And they are going to ask questions, especially the older one, especially the 12-year-old. You know, why didn't you guys stay together? What, you know, what was happening? Da 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 da. You do not want to TMI. You don't. It's not their job to be your therapist, and I see that happen all the time. It's not their job to be your therapist. It's too much. So what you want to do is you want to give them on a need-to-know basis, okay? You know, he and I just are very, very different. His value system is very different from mine. It just didn't work. And sometimes that's what happens. As they get older and ask more and more questions, you know, you can say, hey, read this book on self-esteem. Read this book on boundaries. Read this book about object of my affection. You know, and eventually the kids will put 2 and 2 together and go, oh, because kids are not stupid, guys. I don't know why everyone thinks that kids are not paying attention or that they're not, what's the word I'm looking for? Not aware. They are. They're little pitchers have big ears, okay? They're listening all the time. They're absorbing all the time. They're processing. They're feeling all the time. They're not stupid. They know stuff, just like we know stuff. And their gut instinct has not been completely shut down yet. So they're feeling stuff that maybe is not said. So give the kids more credit than you're giving them. So yeah, you're going to want to talk to them. You're going to want to, you know, be as truthful as possible in your answering without bashing the other person. You know, hey, we've just got very different systems. We've got very different beliefs. I don't think that it's a good idea to be around that family because it doesn't seem healthy to me, you know, and you can leave it at that. You know, the kids will figure it out. There goes that dog. Yeah, last night at 2 o'clock in the morning, this little guy, I think he's upstairs. I was, you know, when you're half asleep and you wake up and you're like, wait, is it my dog? Do I need to take him out? What's going on? So anyway, so I hope that answers that question. So you are honest and open with them, but you don't TMI. You don't overshare. You don't give them too much information. Because a 12-year-old and a 5-year-old are not going to be able to process or handle it. So you give age-appropriate answers. And really, all you need to tell them at this point is, you know, I'm the adult. I don't think it's healthy to be around these people. You know, well, why? Well, you know, I just don't feel good when I'm around them. And I feel slimed. And how do you feel when you're around them? You know, how do you miss them? Do you, you know, talk. And if you need to, get with a good therapist to help them through this. Now, here's the issue with that, is that abusers love to pick therapists that are fresh out of school, do not have clue fucking one how to deal with somebody that is personality disordered or a family that is disordered or whatever. So you want to make sure that you get a therapist that is well-versed in personality disorders or high conflict divorce, and that you get a therapist that is not going to be swayed by the charming narcissist or the charming psychopath, because they will honestly get a therapist that's fresh out of school and then charm the pants off of them, in some cases literally. So you want to make sure that you've got a therapist that is absolutely well-versed, well-educated, understands kids, knows what's appropriate, helps you walk through this. So I would strongly suggest that. Now, when you're getting a divorce, you want to make sure that you have the right to pick a therapist, and that therapy needs to be available to the kids, and you have the right to pick the therapist. So, because I can guarantee you the narcissist will try to pick somebody that doesn't know what they're doing because they don't want the truth to come out. They don't want to be caught. So anyway, I hope that answered that question. Yeah, you want to talk with them about their weekend. How are things going? Yes, the ex is going to come up in your thoughts because the kids are bringing him up. And so with anger towards the ex, what you want to do, honestly, I would say get with a good therapist. I would say work out the anger. I would say journal and burn, get a punching bag, work it out. You know, yes, you have a lot to be angry about. When somebody's an abusive POS, yeah, you've got a lot to be angry about, but it's not the kid's problem, and it's not the kid's place to help you deal with it. It's your job. So I would suggest journaling, write it out, burn it. Journal, write it out, burn it. Let it go. Because honestly, here's the deal. Did the ex do you wrong? Yeah, of course they did, or you'd still be together. So hanging on to the anger, listen to me now, believe me later, is a dysfunctional way of keeping that person with us. I know, that was the mind blower for me. So what I realized with my dad, even though he was dead, I was hanging on to the anger to him because in some way, shape, or form, I was keeping him alive. I was keeping him near me so I could heal him. So since we are all, codependent and we are all empaths and we want to fix the world, part of us hangs on to that anger in a way to try to keep that person close to us so that we can fix them. Let it go, babes. Let it go. You can't fix them because you didn't break them. You did not break them. You cannot fix them. It is their job. Again, personal responsibility. Once somebody realizes something's not working and they do nothing about it, it's like, wow. You're waiting for a knight on shining armor or some princess in a castle to come save you. Your knight and your princess is you. So, yeah, you got to let go of the anger because you can't fix them. You can't save them. You can't redo that. You can't. It's gone. It's done. Get it out of your head. Get it onto paper. Write it out. Burn it. So there's that. All right, let me make sure I answered that question. No, you cannot erase him. And trying to erase him, what that does is when we resist something. Okay, here's a thought. Oh my God, it's a thought and I don't want to think about that thought. I don't want to think about that. I'm not thinking about that thought. I'm not thinking about that thought. I'm not thinking about that pink elephant taking shit in the corner of the living room. I'm not thinking about it. I'm not thinking about it. I'm not thinking. What the fuck am I thinking about the whole time? That one thought. So instead of resisting the thought, what you do is, oh, motherfucker, there you are. I see you. And I am not inviting you in for coffee. In fact, you know what, bitch? I'm going to write you a letter, and it's going to be a go fuck you letter. And at the very end, I'm going to take my power back, and I'm going to evict you from my head because you're not allowed to live there rent-free anymore. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Yeah. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. See where I'm going with that? So you don't resist it. You acknowledge it. Yeah, I'm pissed at him. Yeah, I've got a lot to be pissed about. And maybe I should write him a goodbye letter. Maybe I should write him a go fuck yourself letter. Absolutely. So yeah, there you go. That's what you want to be doing with the anger. No, you cannot erase him, but you also don't want to resist it. So there is that. I hope that answered that question. Okay, question, where to go? Okay, the favorite person status from a personality disordered person. What is that all about? What does it mean, and why do they then rip it away from people? Okay, so what the favorite person status is, if there's a book by Randy Krieger called I Love You, I Hate You, it's about dealing with borderlines or borderline personality disorder. And what they will do is, oh, I love you, you're great, you're fabulous, you're the most wonderful, I hate you, and so it's that I love you, I hate you, I love you, I hate you. It's the intermittent positive rewards. Oh, you're my favorite person, blah, 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 and then all of a sudden, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. Here's the thing. People who are healthy, will let people know that they love them and that, I love being around you and you're awesome, but they never do the flip side. They never do that. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. You just don't. Relationships are going to have their crunchy parts. They're not always going to be smooth sailing. They're not. But when they're not smooth sailing, you're not at each other like this. You may be disagreeing, abso-fucking-lutely, but you're not tearing each other down, screaming at each other, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. You're not doing that. So there's no I love you, I hate you, I love you, I hate you, I love you, I hate you. That is what disordered people do. Healthy, normal people, yeah, we let people know we love them. Oh my God, you're my most favorite person in the world. I love being around you. That's cool, but that status never changes. Do you see where I'm going with that? It's not like you bestow it upon them and then it's ripped away. You don't do that. It's like it's constant unless, caveat, unless somebody does something that is so damaging and so horrible, it's like, I can't be around you. I still love you, but I cannot be around you. So there you go. There's that. I hope that answered that question. So that's what that's all about. It's the I love you, I hate you thing. Okay. There's that one. And sibling abuse. How to spot, deal, prevent, and overcome, as well as how to deal with family when you cut out the abusive sibling. Okay. When we are dealing with a dysfunctional family, and there is a dysfunctional sibling, one or both the parents are going to kowtow to the dysfunctional sibling because they're afraid of them. They're afraid of them. That's what they do if it's a dysfunctional family. In a healthy, normal family, if there is a sibling that for whatever reason is dysfunctional, the rest of the family will let that child know, this is not okay, we're not going to put up with it. No, you're not going to abuse your siblings. No, you're not going to scream at them. You're not going to swear at them. You're not going to curse at them. You're not going to this, that, and the other thing with them. You're not. because we're not going to allow it. In a dysfunctional family, one or both of the parents will coddle or protect the abusive sibling. So that is a huge issue. So what ends up happening a lot of times is you'll get a family dynamic where there is an identified scapegoat. Okay, one of the kids is the scapegoat. They can't do anything right. Anything that goes wrong in the family is their fault. And then the other kids pick up on that and start picking on that kid too. It's almost like how do I explain it? Like one of those wild animal packs where if one of the members is sick or dying, the other animals attack. And that's exactly what happens in a dysfunctional family. So the identified scapegoat just gets slammed. And then the other siblings pick up on it. And they go, oh, well, that parent does that, so I'm going to stay safe by picking on this person, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's totally fucked up. It is totally fucked up. So that needs to stop. The biggest mistake I see is in families where the target of abuse gets away. The abuser has abused the target of abuse and the kids, has picked a scapegoat, and then the scapegoating continues with the siblings. And the target of abuse feels so guilty for what happened with the kids that they don't protect the scapegoat, and they don't correct the kids, and they don't have them have boundaries or discipline or face consequences or anything, because they're trying to make up for what the abuser did. Wrong, incorrect response. Kids need boundaries. Kids need discipline. Kids need consistency more than anything else. And if a child is acting out and picking on that one sibling because that sibling is the one that got abused by the abuser, you need to step up to the plate and smack that sibling back into place and be like, there's a new sheriff in town, motherfucker, and this is not going to fly. Okay, you're not going to say motherfucker to your kid, but you know what I'm saying. It's like, nope, this is not going to fly. I am not going to do this. You're not going to pick on your sibling, and this is done. And if I catch you doing it, there's going to be consequences, So yeah, and it's frustrating for the healthy sibling because you see it happening, and especially if you're an adult and you see it happening, and it's really frustrating because the parent often will not stop. They won't stop because it's a game. It's a game. They're getting something out of it. What's the payoff? What's the payoff? What are they getting out of it? So I can guarantee you, whatever parent is protecting the abusive sibling, they're getting a payoff out of it in some way, shape, or form. Either that they're afraid of that sibling, or that sibling has threatened the whole I'm going to hurt myself routine like I talked about earlier, or they're getting something out of it. So, all right, growing up with an abusive sibling, the signs were often put off as rivalry. No, here's the deal. Sibling rivalry can happen, yeah, it does happen to a small extent. In a healthy family, though, that is pretty much non-existent because there are no favorites. But in an unhealthy family system, there's a golden child, there's an ignored middle child, there's a scapegoat, there's the comedian. In a really just fucked up family, there is second mom, second dad raising the younger kids. Mom and dad are absent. There's still a scapegoat, there's still a, ignored middle, and then an extremely fucked up family, you're going to have the second husband, the second wife, yeah. Yeah, so there is that. And, okay, children facing, or they'll change when they get older. No, they're not going to change unless and until somebody forces them to change, which is why if you see that behavior in a sibling, in a son, and a daughter, and they're picking on it, it doesn't get better with age. It does not. It gets worse. So you want to put the smack down on it. You do not allow that behavior. You call it out. Parents that do not do that do not protect that child, are still stuck in that dysfunctional system of the abuser, because they're still playing out the roles. Because remember, abusers love to have everybody in neat little boxes because they can't deal with change, and they can't deal with reality, and they can't deal with how people are. So they've got to have labels for everybody, and everybody has to fall in line, and that way they stay safe, and unfortunately everybody else is getting damaged beyond belief. So you've got to protect your kids. You've got to. If there is scapegoating going on, you call it out and you put the smack down on the siblings that are doing it. You don't just sit there and go, oh, they'll change. Oh, it's just sibling rivalry. In healthy families, there might be a little bit of sibling rivalry, but the undercurrent is respect. The undercurrent is, I love my brother. I love my sisters. I love this. I love that. I respect them. I like them. In a dysfunctional family, it's intentional. I want to hurt. I want to harm. I want to hurt. I want to harm. I want to get one over on you. I want to be one up. I want to, because that's what the abuser does. So that shit has got to be put down fast and not allowed to happen. When you grow up and the siblings are still dysfunctional and disrespectful and harmful, etc., you don't have anything to do with them. You cut them the fuck off. You do. And it's hard because, you know, you get the whole, oh, but family, but family, but family. Okay, well, guess what? Real family enforces rules. Real family does not allow disrespect. Real family has boundaries. Real family has discipline. Real family has love, which is respect. Love and respect are the same thing. If there's no respect, there's no love. If there's no love, there's no respect. So there you go. I hope that answered that question. All right, Mark is done. All right. Can you talk about the differences growing up with abusive narcissistic parents as an only child versus a child with siblings? Okay, so the sucky thing about growing up as an only child with abusive parents is that you get to play all the roles. So one day you'll be the golden child by one parent, the next, you know, and you'll be the scapegoat for the other, or, you know, you'll be ignored, or you'll be the comedian, or you'll be the therapist, or you'll be the whatever, you know. It's like, so the kid gets projected onto, remember, abusers project. And so the kid gets projected onto whatever the narcissistic or the abusive parents need at the time. And it's confusing for an only child because it's like, oh, good Lord, what do I have in my hair? Huh, I don't know. So it's confusing because they'll get like, you know, love. Honest to God, there is something, I'm telling you. Honest to God, they'll get love from one parent and they'll get nothing but disdain from the other. And it's a game. It's a game. They play games all the fucking time. And the child goes through all of the roles. You know, it's like one parent they'll be the golden child, the next, you know, the other parent will hate them and be the scapegoat, then it'll flip and they'll be the golden child with the other parent and the scapegoat for the other. And it's always this, do you love me more? Do you love me more? Do you love me more? You know, it's this weird, you know, tearing in two between the two parents, and it's a battle for that person's soul. So, and they'll use the weirdest things. So in my family, what was used was religion, okay? My mom was an atheist. My dad was a religious nut. And they were both tearing at me to side with them because it wasn't about me growing and finding my own spirituality. It was a game between the two of them as to who was going to win. And if I sided with one, they won. If I sided with the other, they won, which is why I said, fuck both of you, I'm a Buddhist, fuck off. So, you know, so yeah, it just, yeah. And that's what they do. That's what dysfunctional, fucked up parents do with an only child, is that child ends up playing all of the roles, which is not healthy and very confusing to the kid. I mean, it's confusing to the kid when there's siblings involved because then the other siblings are also playing the roles. And basically, the roles switch depending on what the narcissist needs. Again, what's the payoff? What are they getting out of it? So there is that. All right, let me see if there's any other questions. Oh, that was it. Fabulous. Oh, wait, maybe not. Hang on. Main. Okay, no, that was it. All right. Okay, so I think I am going to not do a show tomorrow because I'm in New Orleans and I realize I have a brunch tomorrow, which I'm very excited about. So I want to go do the jazz brunch and I want to be a tourist and all that sort of fun stuff. So I'm not going to do a show tomorrow. I'll post it up on Facebook so everybody knows. I'm going to try to do a show next Sunday. So we'll do that. I hope this answered all your guys' questions. So have a great day. Go enjoy the day. It's beautiful here in New Orleans. I'm looking forward to meeting everybody. It's going to be awesome. Don't forget, we've got the cruise in December 4th, but we need to have deposits put down by April 20th, I believe. If you have any questions, you can always email Chris, C-H-R-I-S, at Mercury, M-U-R-C-U-R-I.com. He will have all of the answers. Also, for any and all of my events, go to Eventbrite. The only one that's not on Eventbrite, Eventbrite Chris Godinez or Eventbrite Mercury, the only one that's not on Eventbrite is the Think Brain gone. Mensa Convention, which will be July 4th at 2 o'clock at the Sheraton Grand in Phoenix, because that's all Mensa. So that's their gig. All right, so that's it. All right, guys, have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I will talk to you soon.